Good day, learners! How have you been these past few days of the year? I hope you are all doing amazing, as do I. As we get going, I'm Teacher Redency Andres, but you can call me Sir Red for short, and I will be your guide in this fun-filled learning in English. Before digging deeper, let's first check how well you understand our past lesson. What are the different text types again? Correct. We have narrative, informative, descriptive, persuasive, argumentative, expository, and procedural text. Most importantly, we were able to compare and contrast information from the text that we have read. From now on, you must always be critical in reading various texts by weighing the information they presented through comparison and contrast. Did you ever have aha moments while reading? Perhaps as you read, you are reminded of a personal experience, or it could remind you of another book you have read before. It can also be possible that the text you are reading tells something about your present social and political situation. As we read, we always make connections. Do you know the three ways to make connections? Precisely. We make connections through text to self, and text to word. Let's dwell more on each of these as we read a narrative text titled Having a Best Friend. Please take note of the following guide questions which will facilitate our discussion later. For the first question, what does the story remind of you? The second question, how is the story similar to other things you've read? And for the third question, how is this text different from the things that are happening in the real world? Are you ready? Great! Then let's begin. Did you like the story? Awesome! Let's enjoy more by answering our guide questions. What does the story remind you? Perhaps the story might have reminded you of your childhood friend whom you have a lot of disagreement with, but at the end of the day, you are still best friends. Or it could remind you of a particular same scenario where you rescued a friend from jumping. Or you might have other personal experiences similar to the story. If you do, then you have just made a text-to-self connection. What is then a text-to-self connection? Brilliant! These are connections where you connect what you are reading to personal experiences or knowledge. This is when you realize something you read in a story has happened to you in your own life. Usually, this kind of connection comes with the emotion you felt at the time. It may make you feel happy, afraid, or sad. These are some of the questions that will help you build a text-to-self connection. Take note of these questions. Again, these are some questions that will lead us to a connection from the text in our personal experiences. Did you get it? If so, then let's proceed to the next guide question based from the text you have read. Moving on to our next guide question. How is this similar to other things you've read? You might be reminded of the friendship story of David and Jonathan, where their friendship was tested during a difficult time when King Saul, that is Jonathan's father, wanted to kill David out of envy. But still, they choose to stay true to their friendship. Or perhaps, you like the similarity of this story to that of the story of Joseph the Dreamer, where he chose to forgive and forget the mistakes done to him by his brother. Now, what have you noted among these stories? Witty! They project a similar theme. They are also stories portraying the same theme with what we have read. What do you call this type of connection? You're correct. It's text-to-text connection. Text-to-text connections are made when you can connect what you are reading to other books that you have read or listened to before. You may make some connection out of the style of the author, the similarity in the characters, events, or setting, the genre, or even the topic or theme. A solid text-to-text connection occurs when you are able to apply what you have read from one text to another text. And these are some of the questions that will help you build a text-to-text connection. Again, these are the questions that will lead us to connect the text that we have read to another text that we have already encountered. Moving further to our last guide question, how is this text different from the things that are happening in the real world? You're brilliant! Some of the people around us tend to focus on the pain they receive that they eventually develop grudge or hard feelings towards the person or persons that hurt them. This, however, is in contrast to our story which promotes forgiveness. What do you think is the connection employed here? You got it right. This is a text-to-word connection. These are connections where you connect what you are reading to real events, both in past or present, social issues, other people, and happening in the world. You learn about the world from what you are hear and read on TV, movies, magazine, and newspaper, and you try to connect them with the text that you are reading. Here are some of the prompts that will help you build a text-to-word connection. Again, these are the questions that will guide us to build a connection from the material read into what is happening in reality. It may not be our own experience, but things or issues that really exist in the real world. Why do you think we need to make connections with the text that we read? Clever! We make connections for us to really or to easily comprehend the text we are reading, to give sense to what we read, and to be engaged more in the text itself. And always remember that the key understanding to text is when we can relate to it. This is best done when we make connection through text to self, text to text, and text to world. This time, let's have an activity to help you engage more in our lesson on making connections. I'll be giving you some scenario and you have to tell what connection is used. Just write the letter of your choice in your activity notes. A for text to self, B for text to text, and C is for text to word. Again, I want you to read these questions and choose the connection being used. You may write A for text to self, B for text to text, and C for text to word. Are you ready? If you are, then pick your pen and paper and let's get started. Here are the answers. How many did you get? Please shout your scores. Wow, that's pretty awesome. And for that, you deserve a virtual clap. This time, let's level up your next task. I'll be reading a paragraph and you have to make connections between this text and your personal experiences or to the different social issues, concerns, or disposition in real life. Again, you have to write your answer on a 1/2 crosswise pad paper ready to be submitted to your English teacher. Are you now ready? This time, let's have a sample output of a particular student on this task. Take note of how he made connections and what type of connections he employed. This may perhaps be your reference in doing this task. So, this statement is an example of a text-to-self connection. Let's have another. You have also read an example of connection from text-to-word connection. Were the given examples clear? Wow, that's great! Again, from that example, the student made use of the text-to-self and text-to-word connections when he related the text to that of his personal experiences and the present health crisis we are in, respectively. He did great, didn't he? And I know you would also do the same. For that, I want you to give an advanced virtual clap. And that concludes our interaction this day. I hope that you've learned a lot today. Once again, I'm Teacher Rodensi Andres, but you can call me Sir Red for short, saying goodbye everyone, be safe, and God bless.